Hello my friends and welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Stephanie and today I'm very excited to talk about Zoo Tiles, the strategic tile laying game. This is by Zoo Studios and I want to thank Zoo Studios for sending me this game. I do know that they're currently working on the other 6 zodiacs for this game, so as you know, 12 zodiacs, this is 6 of them, and then the other version will be the other 6. But I am super excited to share this with you guys, and without further ado, let's get started. So we're gonna do a playthrough of Zoo Tiles, and we're not gonna go through a full playthrough. We're gonna just show you a general idea of how the game works and kind of talk you through what we're doing and the tiles we're using and stuff like that.
Alright, so we start out with 5 stacks of 8 tiles. We get to choose which stack or what multiple stacks we draw from, but we're going to draw up to a hand of 5. And then we have to have a creature card in our hand. If we don't have a creature card, then we reshuffle back into our decks and we draw 5 more. Good?
I'm good.
So I have the rabbit, pig, and ram decks, and Stephanie has the
tiger, horse, dog stacks.
Alright, so technically the youngest person will go first.
Hi, that's me. Okay, so I think my first one is going to be, let's see here. We're gonna place my dog. So whenever you place a tile, it has to face the person that placed the tile. That way we can show ownership, because there are some tiles that can be flipped to show that the opponent has ownership and vice versa. And the goal of the game is, as you can see on the screen with the dog, it shows you mice, tiger, rabbit, and horse. Those are showing you what this animal or this creature wants to be next to, so that it can make a happy square. That way you can collect points. So if for some reason like a ram came off to any of the sides of the card, that means that you couldn't make a square with a ram if it's connecting to the dog in any orthogonal direction, because that would not be something that the dog would like to be next to. But now it's Ryan's turn to place down something, and I will draw a tile to show the end of my turn.
Alright, so during your turn you actually have 5 different actions. Stephanie just did the place creature and then ended her turn by drawing back 1 tile. I am going to place a creature as well, and since there are now, minus the starting turn where you place your first creature into the middle of the field, there are now 4 empty spaces that orthogonally can be used to place a new creature or an item. So I'm going to place my ram off to the side of Stephanie's dog, and then I'll finish my turn and draw.
So as showing before, because he placed a ram next to this dog, if I were to place and have a square here, I could not make a happy square because the ram doesn't like the dog and the dog doesn't like the ram, as shown by the pictures on the side. So now I have to decide what I would like to do. I'm going to place my horse here, and then I am going to draw to signify the end of my turn.
Alright, so if I was to create a square here by placing a creature in this empty space, if it was a happy square, then I would collect these 4 points and put them in my point section, shooting for that 12-point total to win the game. However, since the ram and the dog don't really work together, I have to decide how I'm going to create a happy environment to make that square. Alright, so I'm going to place another ram, and then I will again draw to finish my turn. And right now, basically, we are just doing the first action. We haven't started placing any action-reaction stacks or anything like that with items or anything.
So I just placed my tiger, and I'm not gonna do anything else, drawing a card.
Alright, so I'm going to start an action stack here. So I'm going to play my action tile of push, which allows me to move a ram that I control left or right 1, 2, or 3 spaces. And if there's any tiles that are in the way, it'll push those off to the side. Now, what's interesting about these stacks is that since it's an action, we also have reaction cards in our hand, reaction tiles that can be added to that. So now Stephanie has an option to, from her hand, play reaction tiles on top of that if she so chooses.
And when you're doing the stack, if I place something on top of it, the card or the tile that's on top has to be completed first before we go down the stack. So as you have a stack going, there's some tiles before it or after it that could completely change what your opponent is trying to do. So in this case, as he's also doing this action, I would ask him which tile is he signifying for the ram, because he has 2 on here, and that could change what I'm doing as well.
I'm activating this ram off to the right side of your dog.
Okay, I'm gonna place Loud Bark. Loud Bark is you choose a creature you control, have its controller move the creature 1 space into an empty one, and capture the creature if it cannot do that. So in this case, my dog could decide to move any one of these 2, but I'm actually gonna have my dog move this one. So it has.
I get to choose.
You get to choose. Yeah, it just can't be where it's at.
Okay. It just ruins everything, huh?
Yeah. So, as I've said before, this needs to be done first before we go to the second action, so whatever he was planning is now ruined or changed.
So I'm not going to play another reaction tile on top of this stack, so we'll start by resolving the tile that's on top, which would be that Loud Bark. I'm going to move my ram up that direction. This goes into Stephanie's discard pile, and then I'm going to push 1 space over, and this push goes into my discard pile.
Yep.
That was my first action out of 5 that I can choose to do. I'm also now going to play a creature card. I'm going to play my rabbit in between my 2 rams there, and then draw to finish my turn.
So in this case, as you can see kind of on what I'm going to show you on the screen here, the dog, as that's shown on my side, doesn't like to be next to the ram, and the ram doesn't like to be next to the dog. But this rabbit likes to be next to the ram here. So this is a start of a happy square here, because if you place something over here that also is happy with the horse and the ram, it would make a square that is happy. So it is my turn to decide if I want to be able to, if I'm able to complete this square or not. Again, it's also vice versa down here if I have something, which in this case it would just be a horse or a horse. And as my opponent probably has, seeing kind of by the setup and what he did, I can deduce he probably has a ram to either place here, or even, yeah, a ram, because that's the only one that would complete the happy square. So I could try to use an action reaction and try something like that, or I could try to, you know, block his space, but kind of like I said, tic-tac-toe here, if I block this space here, he could still go over here and make a happy square and be good to go. So what am I going to do? So this is my action that I'm doing, and it's gallop. So what that would mean is I can move my horse 3 empty spaces in a straight line. And now we wait to see if Ryan has something to place on top of it.
Which I do.
You do?
So, I have what's actually called an obstacle here. So this obstacle is the rabbit hole. And it says that as a reaction, I may place a rabbit that I control under this tile. And then later on, as a reaction, I may place a rabbit that I control under this tile. And as an action later on, I can take that rabbit out from under this tile and place it into any empty space.
All right, let's see, do I have something? I don't, go ahead.
All right, so in this case, this doesn't really help me very much, but it stops whatever Stephanie was planning on doing. So now that she has an obstacle in her way, her gallop doesn't go anywhere if she was planning to go through my rabbit.
You can't. It's a straight line. I can't have any obstacles. 3 empty spaces.
Yeah. So, but you could choose to go up or down still.
Yeah, that's the only way I could go because your rabbit was in the way. Yeah. So I'm gonna go up here. I'm gonna be right here. And then I'm going to play right here. And I'm drawing. End of my turn.
So Stephanie has done one of the things that we figured out while playing this game. If you have one of each of your zodiacs and you place them in a little L curve there, no matter what your opponent has, they cannot make a square happy. They can block you, but there's no way for them to make a happy square. So I have to do something in order to stop her from gaining those, or if I can't, then I just let it happen.
Yeah, because it's up to 12 points, so neither of us have any points right now.
That's right.
We're mainly just battling it out for space.
I could attack her, but at the same time, I don't have the points to do that because when you attack, you add up the strength and intelligence values of your adjacent monsters that can ally. So I would potentially, had I not put my rabbit in the hole, I could have attacked with my ram and rabbit ally in order to defeat her dog, but now I can't do that. And I don't have the tiles to stop her and still gain my points, so I think I would forfeit those points, pass on my turn, and instead draw 2 tiles from wherever I would like.
And as he has pointed out, I have set myself up to make a square here. So this is now a happy square. All my animals love each other, they're best friends, and that means I have 4 points down. So that is how you play, a little brief preview of how to play of this game. As you can see, we have a lot of fun with this. We are constantly back and forth trying to outwit each other, and it depends on the tiles that you have and kind of what your strategy is, but it constantly changes, and that's what makes this game so great.
I'd also like to point out that a lot of the cards that we used were very movement oriented, but there are some cards that when you're attacking will destroy other cards that are attacking you. They can completely wipe out a certain zodiac sign. Different cards that also, beef you up during attack and defense.
Yeah, and I think that's what we have so much fun with, because it really is like a version, I feel like, of tic-tac-toe, like a way more complicated version, but the way that it's set up, and I used to play tic-tac-toe like constantly. I used to have pages and pages and pages of tic-tac-toe, and it just feels like that niche that I've been missing, it's there. Like, this is filling that void of, like, I needed something more complicated, but something that's way cool, and it has zodiacs and the art. I'm just like, I love it. I love it so much. But let's move on to final thoughts. So final thoughts for Zoo Tiles. This is a very cool game. I first was drawn to this game when I saw the artwork that they had done for this game. I am an anime and manga fan, so I was just like, yes, this is right up my alley. I would love to try this type of thing. And as I was playing, I started realizing how strategic this game actually is, because one person has half the zodiac, so you have 3, and the other person has another half, 3. And you don't actually have a commingling of the zodiacs of, different moves that each zodiac can do versus the other person. And it was so cool to see how much strategy went into the thought process of this game. As soon as I got done playing this, I wanted to play it again because it was so much fun. I like how there's variability with the tiles that you draw, and you really have to be strategic in this and kind of guessing about what your opponent's gonna be doing. In my version, the way I can think of it is an easy version of like tic-tac-toe. Tic-tac-toe, you're paying attention to what your opponent's doing, but this is a lot more strategic in that way. It has the basis of like, you have to pay attention to what the other person's doing. because you're trying to collect 4 of your zodiacs to get points. So you're very much, you know, making your own moves and drawing your cards and seeing what your opponent is doing. But it's a very quick play, and as you start playing it more and more, you start building more of a strategy. As we first started playing, we're kind of like, okay, this is very simple, you know, this is gonna be something we can play really quickly. And then as we kept going, we're like, wow, there's certain tiles here that really mess up the opponent, or vice versa, my tile can really mess you up. So knowing how much you have in your deck of those and really holding on to them and trying to plan things out accordingly is very fun. I had a great time. I know Ryan really enjoyed it as well. The components themselves, the tiles, are really nice. They're thick and they don't feel like they would get really worn down really quickly. And I really like the feel of playing with these tiles because they're very nice in quality. And I enjoy this game a lot. As soon as I was done playing it, I also messaged the company to say, hey, when are the other ones coming out? Because I want to play them because it was so much fun. I think that games like this, that are small, can be kind of underrated. A lot of people probably won't know about them or play them and be like, okay, the theme doesn't seem like it's gonna be that strategic or that fun, but believe me, this game is very fun. As a 2-player game, you know I play mostly 2-player games. I had a great time with this, enough that I said, you know, I wanna play it again. And this one I feel like will be on my shelf, my permanent shelf, that when the next one comes out, I want to add that to my collection too, just to play it because it has so much variability with that. And you know, if they come out with different ones and expansions and mixing and matching, it sounds like so much fun for me because I played this game. But I do want to also let you know, I am going to be running some giveaways on my YouTube account soon, so I want to make sure that you're aware of that and to make sure to subscribe and hit that notification button because the holiday season is coming up, so I want to make sure that you have a chance to be involved in that. But I want to again thank Zoo Studios for sending me this game. I had so much fun. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see what else you guys come up with for this game or variations of this game. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Why are you making it so hard? You're putting 2 rounds in a square.
Yeah. I'm gonna fix it on my next turn. Just build off and do another direction. Start your own thing or something.
I start my own thing.
Yeah, start your own thing.